Hi everyone and welcome to a poorly lit start to this reading vlog. So I have tried to do this many times, and if you have watched my TBR for this month you will now understand why I'm trying again. I was inspired by Gavin over at How to Train Your Gavin to read all of the Goosebump books. He's trying to do it all in September. Every year recently I have tried to do it in October. This year I'm gonna try and read half in September and half in October in the hope that that actually pays off. So I'm gonna try and read a book a day and then shove an extra one somewhere, as I think there's 62. And today is the 1st of September, basically almost the 2nd. It's like 1:45, but I've been at work on a 14-hour shift, so I've not really had the time yet to read the first one, which is Welcome to Dead House. So I am now in from work. Lighting will be poor upstairs, so I'm going to give it a go in bed, but if not I will be finishing this off in the morning and I will fill you in then on my experience. But yeah, go and get stuck into this one. I did reread this one the other year, so this one's pretty fresh in my head, and the whole experience of reading this one is also pretty fresh in my head, as I didn't enjoy this one last time as much as I did as a child, so we'll see how I get on this time. Well, that plan went well. It is now Friday the 3rd of September, and I can confirm that the other night, aka a couple of minutes ago for you in the vlog, I read the first 3 chapters of Welcome to Dead House, which put me on page 29. So it's the 3rd and I haven't finished the first book yet. So today I want to try and finish this, then start Say Cheese and Die, and then read Stay Out of the Basement. And as if that wasn't a crazy enough plan, I have editing to do, I have other stuff to read, and I have work. So not sure how I'm gonna do all this, but just gotta crack on, I suppose. I'm gonna start off by just snuggling up and reading this and just seeing how much I can read. I actually had a really good time reading the first 3 chapters the other night. I don't know whether it's because I've gone in with lower expectations after my previous reread attempts other years. And so, yeah, I was actually having an okay time with this. I mean, the clues for what's going to happen in this are just spilling everywhere. It's so overdone. But I don't have an issue with that. And you've got to think the target age for this book as well. Like, I think this book's actually still a great time. The descriptions are a bit funny. I don't mean funny haha. Descriptions are a bit in places though. Like there's references to her dad's really fat belly, which was a bit like, but I mean other than that, they've got to think as well, like, when was this written? Times have changed. First published in 1992. Yeah, 1992. Wow. This book's younger than me at least. Right, I'm gonna get reading. I'll update you when I've finished. If I finish before work. I need to finish it before work. Okay, it's now the 6th. This isn't going well for me, is it? It's the 6th, so I've now got a stack of books this size in which I'm going to try and read today. But it is a day off, so I stand a chance of doing that. And also, actually, it's not quite as bad as it looks. I just need to read 5 of them. Because the other day, I did finish... I can't even hold a book straight. I did finish Welcome to Dead House. I just didn't have time to update you because I had to run off to work. So I was quite happy with my experience rereading this one, actually. Especially since it's one I reread the other year and I felt a bit about it. I think that going in with a lower expectation and knowing how annoying some of the others felt to me, this one actually felt a really solid read, and I'm giving it 4 stars. I really enjoyed this one. If you're not aware of this one, it is a kind of haunted house story. So you've got this family and 2 kids, and they are moving to a new house in a place called Shadyside because they've had a letter through and their dad is apparently like lost some long lost relative, and this relative has left them this house. So the kids are reluctant to move anyway because they're kids, they don't want to leave their friends and their school and everything like that. And when they get there, They really don't like the house. They find it creepy. The dog just barks at anyone and doesn't really want to be there either and runs off. And it's all just very creepy and things go from there. And it's actually a fun read. It's very atmospheric. The kids, as I said, aren't overly annoying in this one, which I know is a thing that will annoy me in future books. But yeah, solid read. Glad to have reread this one. Had a great time. So now I'm going to curl up and start reading Say Cheese and Die, and I'll update you later on. It's a few hours later, but I am happy to report I have finished Say Cheese and Die. I couldn't read it all in one sitting because it's not one that I've ever absolutely loved anyway. Although I do really like the ending, so it has that going for it. So this one has a really cool concept. The characters aren't really for me. So as you can see by the cover, we have a camera, and it actually has a little cute little face on it in this. And if you can look at all the photographs, we see some awful pictures, and that's the idea behind this. So some kids break into a house that is abandoned and all the kids consider haunted, and they find this camera and they take it. And that's kind of where one of my issues lie with this. Let me quickly say while I'm thinking about it. I really dislike how this book basically encourages kids to break into an abandoned building and steal things. Because, I mean, I guess the moral of the story is this camera was not worth stealing and they caused more hassle than it was worth, but still. So yeah, they steal this camera and they take it home, and they don't really find out much about it until they start using it. And they notice that it doesn't take accurate photos. They'll take a photo of, say it took a photo of me sat here like this now. That's not what would come out on film. Either I wouldn't be here, I'd be totally invisible, or maybe I'd be somewhere else, like not even on the sofa, or you could even be like dead on the floor. It basically kind of creates a terrible future scenario for the person whose picture is being taken. It could be death, it could just be like something scary and shocking, you just don't know. And so yeah, the story follows the characters as they learn more about this camera and then what they do about it. And yeah, it's such a scary concept, yet I don't find it scary, I just find the characters quite irritating. I do love R.L. Stine's complete talent for writing cliffhangers. Like, as a child, you're probably not going to be reading this all in one sitting, although I do remember as a child I did read a lot of the Goosebumps all in one sitting, but in theory you're not going to be reading these in one sitting, and the end of each chapter always ends on such a wonderful cliffhanger. It's really very well written in that sense. R.L. Stine writes really annoying children's characters. Or maybe that's just my age coming out, but it often ends up being my issue with Goosebump books, the characters. In this one, they're just irritating. There's nothing likable about them at all. So from one irritable character cast of characters even to the next, I'm going to be starting Stay Out of the Basement next. This one is never one I've been overly bothered about either, I don't think. Oh, did I mention, by the way, that I'm going to give Say Cheese and Die 3 stars. This one, I'm quite indifferent to overall, I feel. So I don't find it scary. I don't find the concept interesting. I just find it a bit meh. But I will catch you up on that when I've read it. Wow, my hair's wacky as anything. So it's now the 10th of September because I'm incredibly slow. And I've just finally finished Stay Out of the Basement. And actually, there were parts of this that made me think this isn't as bad as I remember it to be. And there were parts of this that I was like, oh God, this is so boring. So to give you a rundown, this follows, again, a family. A lot of the Goosebump books do tend to follow like quite a standard family. So this is 2 kids and then the parents, and the mum has to go away because her sister's unwell, and the dad has recently lost his job and is doing weird experiments in the basement with his plants. This then leads to him barely speaking to the children, even once the mum's gone away to look after her sister. He's the only adult there. There isn't an awful lot of communication, and he starts acting more strange by the minute, and the kids become quite scared. And I will say, As I've said with pretty much every book so far, this is only the third, but with all of them so far, for me, R.L. Stine is so much about the cliffhangers. His writing quality is great. I just don't always enjoy the characters or enjoy the plot. This one, the characters weren't a problem for me. This one was more the plot. I just think it's quite a boring plot. I think it's interesting and different, but it doesn't interest me. Nothing overly tense happens other than things going on with the dad, which is done in a clever way and it is done in a gripping way. All the same, it's definitely not for me. I've given this one 3 stars because it's never been one of my favourites, and I knew that going into it, as I said. So next up is going to be The Curse of the Mummy's Tomb. This one was always one of my absolute favourites as a child. This one and The Return of the Mummy, which is book 21. So yeah, I'm expecting... Well, I don't know what I'm expecting actually, because as I've said, I did go on a reread binge a couple of years ago because I wanted to reread the series then and failed, and I only made it to like book 10. I did reread this one obviously last time, and I went around thinking, oh, I'm going to enjoy this one so much, and then I read it and hated it. Took me ages to get through it as well. And they're such short books. So yeah, I'm hoping I don't hate it this time. If I go in with such low expectations because of the hatred from last time, hopefully I won't be as disappointed, because that would be a terrible shame. As like I said, this used to be one of my favourites as a kid. The things that I remember annoying me about it last time are how irritating the characters are, specifically the children, and how everything's a competition, and it just felt really pushed, forced, unrealistic and annoying from memory. So it'll be interesting to see whether I feel like that this time around. Okay, just to really emphasise my point, because I'm already annoyed and I'm on page 3. So the first thing is in page 1, he's going on about how thirsty he is and nagging his mum constantly, which I get, children do. This kid's meant to be 12, by the way, and she's like trying to get him to look at the pyramid, and then he literally goes, but I'm choking, and then it says afterwards, okay, so I wasn't choking, I exaggerated a little, just trying to get her attention, but she pulled the brim of her straw hat down and continued to stare off the pyramid which shimmered in the heat. I decided to try my dad. Like, he's such an irritating little brat. Maybe that's the point. But then, literally, page 3, he teased his dad about his weight. And then it says, just kidding, I said. Dad's pretty sensitive about his weight, so I tried to tease him about it as often as I can. What a horrid child. And I'm meant to spend the next 120 pages actually, like, caring whether this guy gets attacked by a mummy. What a horrible kid. And I have just finished The Curse of the Mummy's Tomb. As you did see, I did run into the typical early issues that I thought I would run into with this, but then I kind of got over it a bit and I just got wrapped up in the story instead, and I enjoyed it easily as, oh god, there was a bug on me, easily as much as I expected to, if not more. So this one taps into my love for all things to do with like ancient Egypt, and so this one follows a character called Gabe, who is 12 years old, and he's on holiday with his family in Egypt. Meanwhile, his cousin Sari is also in Egypt visiting her dad, which is Gabe's Uncle Ben. Uncle Ben's an archaeologist, and they have Egyptian connections, so they live in the US, but their grandparents were from Egypt, so they all feel really in touch with Egypt and kind of like to go there whenever they're on holiday. Plus they get to see Uncle Ben, obviously. And all of a sudden, Gabe's parents get called away for work to somewhere else in Egypt, and so he stays with his Uncle Ben so that he can actually get to go in the Great Pyramid, which seems like a load of fun until bad things start happening. So it's not always bad in the sense of close to death, although there are near-death encounters in this one, which I find does make this one have much higher stakes than some of the other Goosebump books. This has genuine threat to life. It has creepy crawlies. It has enclosed spaces. Like, it has a lot of buzzwords for like scary things. I think this is one of the genuinely scarier Goosebump books, in my opinion. And it's one of the reasons why I've always loved it. So it's such a shame that the character issues are there, because if the characters weren't so irritating. This, even now as an adult, would be a 5-star read for me. Because I do have the hatred levels that I do for like the characters and the way they behave in this book, I can only give it 4 stars. And I think I've always given it 4 stars in a reread, but yeah. Highly recommend this one if you can get past the character issues, because it's just got so much genuine, scary atmosphere, tension, themes, and it throws in a little bit of ancient Egypt, like references and things about the pyramids and just interesting stuff. Really great read other than the issues. So I am now going to be moving on to the 5th book, which I need to get cracking because, as I said, today is the 10th of September and I have not yet even started the 5th book. So I'm still like 5 days behind and then some. So I want to try and get this read today as well. I will give you an update later on telling you more about this one and also my feelings on it, because this was one I was never bothered about as a child either. The subject matter doesn't interest me as much and I just don't find it high stakes. It's not that scary and the overall risk is a lot less in my eyes. But yeah, maybe I'll feel differently about it this time around, and yeah, I'll give you an update later on. Oh my god, sorry this lighting is so poor. This clip's probably really grainy. It's just so dark and rainy outside today. It is the 14th of September. And yeah, I'm still not doing well with this, am I? Because the 14th of September should mean that I am currently reading this one at the back here, The Werewolf of Fever Swamp. However, I still have all these to read. I've just finished while doing what I'm hoping is a video that you will have already seen, a reading sprint video where I read most of Monster Blood and I also started Let's Get Invisible. So this is where I'm at. So I'm just going to rewind here and talk to you about Monster Blood. So as I said, this is always one that I was never bothered about when I was younger, and so I was pleasantly surprised actually. I'm not that bothered about the plot of this one, but it does still have some great aspects. First of all, the kids aren't annoying. Why can't I have one that's got an interesting plot and not annoying kids? That's my request, please. So this one we follow a child called Evan, and he has gone to visit his aunt or great aunt or something because his parents are looking to move house with him, and they've gone to, is it Atlanta? I can't remember. But either way, they've gone to the place where they're going to be moving to sort of run some errands in accordance with that, and they've needed to leave Evan behind. So he's with his aunt and she is deaf. And he's really dreading going and staying with her. And she won't let him keep even his dog in the house, his dog Trigger, who is a Cocker Spaniel. He has to live out in the garden. So Evan, first chance he gets, goes out and tries to make a friend, and makes a friend with a girl named Andy. They go into a toy shop and look at all these different like items. There's like magic trick boxes, all sorts, and they see this tin of Monster Blood straight away because there's only one. Of course, they naturally fight over it and each want to buy it, and so they ask the shopkeeper whether there's more than one. They both want to buy one, and he's like, oh, it's not for sale, which makes them want it all the more, of course. So they fight over being able to buy it. Eventually he's like, why don't you share it, and sells it for like $2. So Evan takes it home. He's being quite difficult about not wanting to share at all with Andy. Anyway, they discover quite quickly that this Monster Blood is definitely not everything they first thought it would be. And like I said, it's not an overly thrilling plot. It does have some more exciting parts in the sense of some bullies get their comeuppance. And the ending is quite a cool and surprising ending, like the last couple of chapters were quite gripping. They gripped me, but it was nothing special still. I have decided, because this one hasn't annoyed me and because I did like the ending more than I remembered, to give this 4 stars. So that's not bad going. And next update will hopefully be me finishing this. Hopefully later on, but I can't make any promises because I've got my mum coming around shortly and I've got other things to do and videos to edit, house cleaning to do. I wish I was just a child with no responsibilities other than reading so I could get this done. But yeah, I'm a little way in. And this is, of course, book 6. Yeah, I'm on page 48 of book 6. So yeah, hopefully I can update you really soon. So this is the first time where I am filming on my new phone. I've got the iPhone 13 now, and I wonder if we will notice any difference in this at all. I don't even know what the date is today. It's Monday the something. Is it around the 27th, 28th? I don't really know. But I've just finished Let's Get Invisible, which is book 6. So I'm only like 20 odd days behind my plan. I can't remember what I said going into this one about how I would feel about this one. As again, like I said, it is one that I knew what I was kind of letting myself into with a reread of, because I did reread this one a couple of years ago. My experience is basically that I actually enjoyed it. The kids irritated the shit out of me though. Like, what's this? Oh my God, I've got to be so competitive. Oh my God, I've got to be so competitive. Oh my God, let's be fucking competitive. Like, irritating. So irritating. Oh my God, I need to get the best time. Oh no, I need to be invisible the longest. So you follow these kids who find a mirror in their attic, and when they pull the light cord, you disappear. This seems like a really cool trick, except once they've been invisible for like 5-ish minutes, so they start to feel a little bit strange. And things happen to do with that. Yeah, this has never been one that's creeped me out because it's just a bit weird. But at the same time, this time reading it, I could kind of get on board with the scariness of it. I don't know. I actually enjoyed it better than I thought. Like I said, the characters were the only thing that annoyed me. I actually really enjoyed the plot of this one. I've actually decided to give it 4 stars in the end. I'm really surprised by that. Pretty sure I thought I was going to give it less. So yeah, if the characters were annoying, I'd be on board with this one a lot more. So up next, of course, is Night of the Living Dummy. Hopefully I read this one in a much more timely manner than the last one. And here we are into October, and I have just finished chucking the book at myself. I've just finished reading Night of the Living Dummy. I feel so conflicted on this one. So again, this is one where the kids absolutely drive me insane. They are so irritating. You follow 2 sisters, and apparently they just like copy each other all the time. They were like, oh, he's so competitive, and oh, you copy me all the time, and oh, so irritating. And one of them finds this dummy in a skip and starts learning ventriloquism. The other one's like, oh yes, I want to get into that too. And the dad actually buys the other one in the end once they're done fighting over the initial dummy. So they've got one each. And then bad things start to happen, and it's questionable as to just how normal these dummies are. This is our first introduction to the character of Slappy, who is a character that R.L. Stine visits in many a future book. And I just don't know. I love the idea of the dummies. I love the plot of this, but the characters drive me insane. The parents drive me insane. The audiences and like a couple that one of them performs on drive me insane. I'm torn. If we're going on plot alone, I'd go 4 stars. But the kids annoyed me that much. I think I'm going to go to a 3-star this time around. I'm not sure what I've rated it other times. Probably 3 or 4 stars, depending on my mood too. But yeah, I just feel so angry. It's taken me days to get through this one as well. It's only a short book. Overall, just annoying characters as usual. So I may go and crack on with The Girl Who Cried Monster, and I'll catch up with you soon. Okay, I'm feeling pretty impressed with myself. It's still the same day since the last clip, and it's actually only about an hour and a half later, but I have finished The Girl Who Cried Monster. So from memory, I think this is one of the first ones that I ever bought, and it was probably like the 2nd or 3rd Goosebump book I ever read. And this is just like, compared to the others, this one holds up so well. I had a great time reading this. Don't get me wrong, there were a few things about it that still really annoyed me, but overall I still really enjoy this one. It has so much tension. It has a cute little twist at the end. It's not like terrifyingly scary, but the tension and the scary situations that this main character finds herself in kind of make this a good read still, even as an adult. So this one, if you're not aware, follows a young girl, again, like all the other Goosebump books. She's probably about 12. She has a younger brother who she likes to wind up by telling everyone that there are monsters like everywhere. She sees monsters everywhere. There's tree monsters, there's toe monsters, there's goodness knows what else. And it's the summer holidays and her parents have made her take part in this reading program called the Reading Rangers at their local library. So she goes to the library for a meeting as usual and she's about to go home, has not made it very far out of the building when she's like, oh no, my rollerblades, because she'd skated there. So she goes back into the library to pick up her rollerblades and for some reason starts spying on the librarian. And things sort of develop from there. As I said, had a great time with this one. The things that annoyed me were just the parents, just if they knew, I can't say that because it would spoil it. Okay, I'm about to spoil part of the aspect of this book. If you care, fast forward until I'm not holding this book up anymore. So the long and the short of it is that the librarian's a monster. No one believes her. You go on some long-winded way of eventually proving to her parents quite a bit later that he's a monster. And the whole twist of this book is they then invite him round for dinner and they eat him because they're a family of monsters. If they knew monsters existed by the fact of they are monsters themselves, why did it take the lengths that it goes to in this book to actually believe the daughter that he is a monster? Don't get me wrong, she is very guilty of the girl who cried wolf experience, but with monsters. But with all of the other ones, at least the examples you get in this book, she doesn't carry it on for as long as what she did with the librarian. I just think that they should have believed her a lot sooner than what they actually did, considering they know that monsters genuinely exist. So yeah, that annoyed me a bit. That said though, overall, I really had a great time reading this, as proven by the fact of it's one of the few that I've read so far in one sitting and quite quickly. At that, an hour and a half was pretty blitzing it in my opinion, and I gave this 4 stars on a reread. Up next will be Welcome to Camp Nightmare, so I'll catch up with you soon. Okay, update time. It's the 10th of October and I've just finished book 10, so I'm only like a whole month behind where I wanted to be, of Goosebumps. So I've not updated since even finishing book 9, so here's my thoughts on both Welcome to Camp Nightmare and The Ghost Next Door. So Welcome to Camp Nightmare was one that I was desperate to read as a child and I was struggling to get a hold of a copy, which is why I bought this collection one in the end, because it was the only way I could get a hold of Welcome to Camp Nightmare. I was disappointed as a child, and that disappointment rolls on into adulthood. The idea in this one is that this kid goes off to camp and creepy, terrible things start happening and he starts genuinely worrying about everyone's safety, what kind of camp he is really at, whether, you know, it's actually a legit place. The things that are happening just get weirder and weirder. People start disappearing. It's a pretty scary time. I would love this one. I would love the premise and everything so much more if the ending didn't let it down considerably. The ending of this one, as always, even as a child, annoyed me so much. And it's a shame because this is probably the one Goosebump book I've read so far that doesn't have, oh my god, I'm so competitive, as a theme running through it. He isn't trying to like be the best. He's just a good kid. And yeah, I'm just really disappointed. Why has the ending got to be so basic? It just took away anything that was even remotely scary about the story. So yeah, sad times. I gave that one 3 out of 5 stars. So The Ghost Next Door. That was one that my brother actually borrowed off me when he was a kid and it gave him nightmares. So it's definitely, at least to a child, one of the more scary ones. We follow a girl named Hannah and she's having a really boring, shitty summer. Her parents couldn't afford to send her to camp with her friends. And so she's just kind of chilling at home. There's nothing really going on. She's got 2 little brothers who are pretty annoying and she's obsessed with scaring them. It all sounds quite standard Goosebumps, doesn't it? But there's a twist in this one. And while as an adult, obviously I knew anyway, but as an adult, I think the twist is quite obvious. As a child, I remember not seeing the twist coming. I enjoyed this one a lot. The tension's there, the fear factor's there, the confusion is there. And the twist is a good payoff. So I've actually given this one 4 out of 5 stars. Magical, I know. And so this brings us to the end of part 1 of this vlog. I hope you've enjoyed seeing my reactions and thoughts to the first 10 Goosebump books. Keep your eyes out for, I'm not sure how long it's going to take me, but for part 2 in this series where I read and review books 11 to 20. And yeah, feel free to let me know if you've ever reread any of these in the comments down below and what you thought of them. In the last couple of days, Gavin's video, his like 3.5 hour marathon on how to train your Gavin, his video went live, so every time I finish a Goosebump book now, I go and watch his vlog to kind of see what his thoughts are versus mine, and he seemed to not mind the ending of Welcome to Camp Nightmare, which was quite interesting. But yeah, other than that, a lot of our tastes kind of align quite a bit. Be interesting to see how the next few books go, but yeah. Thank you so much for watching this video. If you liked it, please give it a thumbs up. Subscribe by clicking the image of me if you want to see more book reviews and other bookish content from me, and I will see you soon. Bye bye.